Smith. I'm an agent of Goldstein. I didn't know it myself. Thought crime is so insidious. It just creeps up in you. My daughter found it out. Very proud of her. Very grateful I've been discovered before it's too late. They won't shoot me, will they, Smith? I know I could be very useful in a labor camp.
Room 101.
No. Please. You don't have to take me there. Why? There's nothing I won't confess. Nothing. I've told you everything already. What is it you want me to know? Take him instead of me. He's the thought criminal. It's him you want.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute. The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
We did it. We did it, everybody. Finally, Joe Biden, presidency. I've been waiting. I've been encouraging people, get out and vote. Go do the right thing. Finally, the tyrant is out of office, and Joe Biden, the freedom fighter for the American people and the world, has been sworn in. And I would just like to be the first one on Murdered Media to congratulate him in accomplishing this great feat and stopping the tyrannical regime that was the Trump presidency. So I think we could all breathe a sigh of relief now and just kind of realize that horror is behind us, finally, after 4 years of a reign of absolute white hate terror has now come to an end. So everybody, let's just take a short moment of silence to just kind of doesn't everybody feel better now? I was worried that this whole election fraud malarkey was going to catch on. Thankfully, it didn't. And now Joe Biden is president, and we can all finally just relax a little bit. Unless you're a hate person, and then I hope you are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Now that those hate people, everybody needs to know, are everywhere, lurking around every corner, just waiting to hate. And they're hating now, but they're going to spread that hate. So just be aware. The battle is not over. It's not won. But let's get into some of the things Joe Biden is thankfully going to do that, to reverse some of Trump's hate policies and, start turning back the clock on, the radical divisiveness that the right has been responsible for over 4 years now. So let's read the correction that is now taking place. Number one, we're going to stop border wall construction. That's important because, first of all, it doesn't do anything, okay? Have you ever heard somebody say something to the effect of, when you build a wall, is it to really keep people out, or is it to keep you locked in? Something to think about. Number two, end the Muslim travel ban. Thank God. Because under Trump, only hundreds of thousands were allowed in. And now, hopefully, we can get back up to really making America great again by welcoming in everybody from the world that will make this place even better than it was before. And when I say before, I mean before Trump, when Obama was president, when everything had finally started being perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect. Rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. This will take 30 days to go into effect. That's a long time. Bear with the administration. The justice system moves slowly. But just know that the good news is we will be spending a lot. I don't know if people know this, but money stops climate change. And we are going to throw so much money at this. Luckily, we're only 27 trillion in debt. So I think we can get up to about 50. And then when that happens, good stuff, like only good stuff at 50 trillion in debt. So the faster that happens, the better. Remember, the government has all the money in the world, quite literally. So don't worry about spending money on things like climate agreements. This is for the better. Number four, end the Keystone XL pipeline and revoke oil and gas development at national wildlife monuments. At the Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante National Monuments in Utah and the Northeast Canyons and Seamounts Marine National Monuments in New England. So good news for the electronic vehicle people, for the solar people, the wind people. Thank God that the gas users are going to have... I drive several versions of EVs or very economical hybrids. And you should be doing the same. And if you don't, I don't want to hear you complain about your gas prices going up. They were artificially low because of these pipelines and policies from the previous administration, whose name we're going to very shortly stop mentioning. Count non-citizens in the U.S. Census again. This is important because everybody needs to be accounted for. Everybody needs to be known about their whereabouts. This is very important to the government. And more importantly, how can we give people who have a right to be here but are not legally here more money to help them in their journey to freedom in the United States? So again, another just great thing Biden is doing on day one. Rejoin the World Health Organization, also known as WHO. Dr. Anthony Fauci will join a board meeting to deliver remarks on global health and the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm so glad that he was never a Trumpist and argued and butted heads with Trump since the beginning of the pandemic. Now he will be installed in the Biden regime. I'm sorry, the Biden presidency and cabinet. And I'd like to point out to everybody watching that under Fauci's keen eye and directive is the only reason that the pandemic hasn't been worse. So I have a feeling that it's probably going to end any day now, especially with Fauci at the helm. 100 days masking challenge. A nationwide face mask and social distance mandate on federal buildings, lands, and by federal employees and contractors. Hey, you've never heard me speak out against masks. I've been for them since day one. Now, not for the reasons people might think, hiding your identity while you're freedom fighting, or acquiring what is owed to you by corporations after, let's be honest, stealing from the people for all these years. But under Biden, that's going to stop. Corporations will be paying a higher corporate tax, and that money will be given directly back to the American people, whom have been stolen from this whole time by evil multinational global corporations. So thank God Biden's there to stop that too. Extend eviction and foreclosure moratoriums. I don't know if y'all knew this. That ended under Trump. But luckily Biden's back to get it going again. Continue pause on student loan payments until September 30th. And hopefully after September 30th, they will continue to be paused. I have a feeling that they won't be, though, because the pandemic will be over by then. I predict the pandemic coming to an end with Fauci and Biden and Harris in control by mid-February. The only reason it didn't take 15 days to flatten the curve in the beginning when Fauci said that was because Trump was in the way. This could have been avoided altogether, but Trump wanted a lot of people sick worldwide. It was part of Trump's plan. Defend Dreamers program for undocumented young Americans. Now, I don't think that needs any explanation. I might be out of line here. I think American children have been too spoiled for too long. They're in a white supremacist mindset, and the more culture we can infuse into the United States and its young, soon-to-be legal documented citizens from around the world that might have come here under dire circumstances, only wanting a better life, I think as they... Can you say melting pot anymore? I think that was racist. As they blend into American society's fabric, the exchange, if you will, is going to go like this. All white supremacy, influx of beautiful diversity, pushing out white supremacy in young school children. So that's going to be obviously a net positive, and these people, contribute not only to the rich culture of American society, but also to the American tax coffers, if you will. So the more dreamers, the more illegals, and I don't even like to use that word, but the more of them that are made Americans and legal citizens, I believe it's literally 97% of them actually pay more into the system than they take out. The other 3% can't work because of disabilities. So, I mean, you're not going to be mad at people for having disabilities when the overwhelming majority contribute to this country and are law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. Change Trump's arrest priorities for immigrations and customs enforcement. Well, yeah, because... I don't know if y'all knew this. Humans can't be illegal. It's impossible. So obviously that needed to happen. Day one. Day zero. Keep protections for a group of Liberians in the country. A lot of things are going on in Liberia. These people are, I assume, I have no idea, facing an oppressive government regime. There's probably troops occupying their capital cities with, probably orders to shoot anybody who is rioting. So Liberians need a place to go, and that place is the United States, because if I'm not mistaken, they're facing violent dictatorial rule. and they have to escape from that. And I think all the young men of Liberia, in order to fight that, need to come to the United States and prosper, and then maybe transfer a little bit of wealth back to Liberia, which I don't know if y'all knew this, Liberia was founded by the United States. So we're tied to Liberia. A lot of their cities are named after racist, hateful ex-U.S. presidents. But I'm proposing an initiative to Biden now that we rename Liberian cities anything that doesn't have anything to do with prior old dead white men that once ran this country in its hateful heyday. Restructure federal government coordination to the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, that goes without saying. How else are you going to end it? This was not Trump's priority. Now it's Biden's. So we will be seeing progress. I predict it's going, the pandemic's going to be over with in a few months now. Now that there's real, true leadership, we will be able to get through that. Actions to advance racial equity through the federal government. Every federal agency to review equity in their programs and actions. Revoke Trump's harmful 1776 commission. As everybody knows, the lack of racial, sexual, gender equity is a huge problem in this country, and study after study after study shows that at the heart of America's problem is non-equity. So Biden will be taking a lot of time and a lot of people, a lot of commissions, and a lot of money to right the wrongs of past inequity. So I hope people are ready for that, because America is about to see its brightest day ahead of us, as everybody is made equitable under United States rule. Governance. Strengthen workplace discrimination protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Now, if there's one thing that I would say is the most important on this list, it is absolutely restructuring Hold on, I got to read that again. Strengthen workplace discrimination protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity. That's the most important thing on this list. I'm shocked it's not number one, but I think that even in the Democrat Party, there's enough hateful anti-trans bigots that if Joe were to put that number one, there would be some pushback. Because you got to remember, there's still a lot of hate people in the Democrat Party. And by that, I mean older white men. And one thing older white men have proven over and over again is they cannot accept transsexuals having an equal role to play in the United States, and are constantly discriminated against. And that makes up a huge portion of our population too. A lot of hate people try to say they make up 0.1% of the population or 0.5 or whatever. The truth is, transgendered, or some people say queer people, make up 73.7% of the American population. They're just afraid to say anything because of discrimination and oppression. And we're going to end that. Freezing last-minute Trump administration regulatory actions. Thank God. What, did he think he was going to get away with that? Did he think he was just going to be able to, oh, at the last minute, I'm going to do all this stuff. As we said on the show, it's just going to be overturned. I don't know why he wasted his time. What he should have been wasting his time with is pardoning people like Assange or Snowden. Oh. Assange and Snowden are evil white hate supremacists. And if Trump did, this is right, if Trump did one thing right, it was not pardoning them, but instead pardoning actual political prisoners and people who are politically persecuted, people like Lil Wayne, Kodak Black. You know, just read the list of who he pardoned. An Israeli spy. And thankfully he didn't pardon anybody that was part of that occult insurrection that happened on January 6th. And last but not least, maybe not least, I don't know, formulate executive branch ethics doctrine. President Biden wants every executive branch appointee to sign an ethics pledge, and the pledge commits federal employees to uphold the independence of the Department of Justice. I think that has something to do with, like, you know, the Department of Justice is where justice is done, and if it's being corrupted by people in the executive branch, i.e. Donald Trump in the past, whose name we'll soon stop saying, lest we be accused of being hate people, I think the statement is basically going to read, I will not interfere or speak out hatefully against anything the Department of Justice is doing with their long and storied history of justice. So, that is the 17 executive actions that Biden has already sprung into play today. So, we're all glad that has happened. So thank you for that, President Biden. And I like saying that now, President Biden. Doesn't it sound great? In other news, the freedom fighters thankfully are back on the streets fighting for rights. So as you can see, the freedom protests, anti-hate protests are back out on the streets. 11 oppressive hate police were injured in this. And, hey, I don't know why the oppressive police force, ACAB, is standing in the way of peaceful protest and progress. So this is a shout out to the freedom fighters who have returned to the streets to make sure their voices are heard and continue the fight. And speaking of freedom fighters, we also have, that was in New York City last night. Somebody labeled it NYC riots. They're fired, whoever did that. That was the freedom fighter protest. And then we have this going on, more freedom fighting. And I believe this is Denver.
We have to keep it going. Martin Luther King was a praying man. And the only thing
Yeah, down with that hate symbol.
We can try all we want to, but look, we ain't that smart. Trump was president for 4 years. Yeah. Okay, I'm going out. In Virginia, in the city. So you tell them to give us a heart.
I'd like to give just a big shout out to the FBI and the National Guard for not, under Trump's reign of terror, the National Guard and the FBI was forced to go after these peaceful protesters who only want freedom and equity for the entire country. Well, not the entire, the people who deserve it, not the people who, let's be honest, need to be put in camps and re-educated. So I would just like to thank the FBI and CIA and the National Guard for allowing peaceful protests and calls for equity, equality, and freedom once again out into the streets.
My name is Dr. England. What is called Give Us Our Harvest. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
We'll work on getting them better freedom lighter fluid. I'm sorry, anti-hate lighter fluid. If you get a flag that big, how do you mess up burning it? I don't know. That sounded like the hate talk side of me that's long dead now. Anywho, just want to let everybody know that, or I guess I should say, if you notice in the video, finally there's no Nazis around to stop this freedom exchange. this freedom exchange of peaceful ideas. Well, it doesn't have to be peaceful per se, because, there's no peace when there's hate. But that said, I'm just glad that the oppressive, all cops are bastard police force didn't stop this freedom exchange. And I think that's probably because of our dear leader Joe Biden saying, hey, stand down. This is America. All right? There you go. Fold it over. Not too quickly. It'll put it out. Not a Nazi in sight. Oh, don't mind the police coming over. It's not a crime to burn the American flag, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a crime. It's only a crime and a hate crime to burn a Black Lives Matter banner. Don't you ever forget it. Some people say, I cannot stand the burning of the American flag. That's illegal. And I go, no, it's not. That's freedom of expression. And you think that way because you've been conditioned by a hateful white male system to think that the American flag is anything but a sign of oppression. And I hope Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually change the United States flag. Because everywhere you go, if you look at any federal building, any state building, a lot of Nazis' front yards, you'll see a unified symbol of hate, and that unified symbol is the American flag. And just imagine having to be a person of color, anybody in the LGBTQ community who have been oppressed under that flag for hundreds of years, having to be reminded every day they look at that flag of what would seem like a never-ending reign of terror that was put forth under the old guard, the old hateful guard government that flew that same flag for many years now. So put yourself in their shoes as we call for a new American flag that's all-inclusive. Let's see what else we got here. I got one more slide. And this one is the most... I'm going to put a trigger warning on this. I want everybody to just know I'm about to show footage of the spread of white supremacy that's been going on under Donald Trump and even before. When there was the first African-American president, it really made white people in this country very angry. And we're going to show you like an infographic of how hate is now spreading in the United States. So pay attention to this and just be aware that the majority of your neighbors are probably evil white supremacists, or they support evil white supremacists. And if they're white and probably over the age of 14, they've been indoctrinated by a white supremacist hate system. And never forget that. You can't really trust these people. And I'm about to show you how this hate is spreading. Oh my God. Let's play it again. 2008, 2012, 2016, that's when Trump won, and 2020. So if you think the battle is over, it's not. It's only just begun. And under the Kamala Harris-Biden administration, we hope that the 2024 map is solid blue, which means all hate has been eradicated, along with most white people. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. The next 4 years is going to be amazing. So the next thing I had to talk about, we are out of slides, is a politically persecuted journalist that works for MT Media has finally had a warrant put out against him by what was the evil Trump administration. He's one of our dearly, dearly beloved colleagues here at MT Media. And I I guess on the local news here in Monte Rio, a neighbor saw his face on the news. Now, keep in mind, this was yesterday, so this is under the oppressive Trump regime. But Biden has not had time to turn this around yet. Hopefully he makes that number 18 on his list before the day is over with. That journalists are not politically persecuted by the system for documenting what goes on in these white supremacist rallies. So we're going to have to start a campaign to raise attorney's fees, which he told me the attorney's fees today, and they are insane because this is a federal case. And I said, I'll give you the figure. It's $15,000. That's, the guy's like, I'll do it for $15,000. Real prominent federal attorney, African-American guy. And not that that matters. And yeah, he said 15 grand. So the good news is, on our first campaign, raising money for political prisoner Nicholas Oakes, who's also a journalist / reporter for MT Media and the Oakes Report on MT Media, we raised just shy of $20,000 for his legal defense. So you're going to start seeing a blitz of fundraising going on because we need to get that money for Nick DiCarlo as well. And Parler has been taken away. Now, we are only on Parler to keep an eye out on the white supremacists and their hateful spread on social media. Now, luckily, Parler was taken down, so no more hate and terror plotting could be planned. However, we happened to build our audience on Parler, and it got up to 19,000 followers, and only followed 44 hate people, which was nice. You know, it's like, I didn't have to follow a whole bunch of them to get in their circles and whatnot. But because Parler is gone, we don't have the ability to fundraise like we did. So I'm going to ask everybody that when Murder the Media on Telegram shares a fundraising campaign, that you give what you can. Look at it like this. If you watch the show regularly, or if you like what we do, throw in $1. Have we entertained you enough for $1? Think about it. And if we can get enough people to throw in $1 or 20, then we can do the legal fees. And I believe, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think that it will be, like the goal will be 15 to 20 grand. I'm not sure if there's other fees on top of the 15,000. But anyway, we're not going to ask for 100,000 and then boost it up to 200,000. But maybe we should. Anyway, so we'll be asking for donations. I will be the first to throw in $1 Coke dollar bill. Into the Burger King crown it goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you know what I would do? Let me scroll some comments. Why not, right? We'll start here. Flags are stupid. Not all flags. You know what I'm talking about. Rest in peace, my dog. I guess Dimebag Darnell's dog died, everybody. Don't try to steal thunder from the fundraising campaign, though. Please report us all to the FBI, Atticus. You probably should be. Flaggots. That's pretty good, Leroy. Cast, stay safe. Oh, okay, I can breathe now. We got a little bit of coverage from a stay safe spell. Stay safe spell. I think I said that right. Another wizard in the house. The red is bigotry and ignorance. That's true. Yeah, you're watching the spread of that like a cancer, like an evil hate cancer. By the way, in 2021, it's looking like hate cancer will be diagnosed exclusively amongst white American men. Joe Biggs has been eradicated. I heard he was indicted and turned himself in. But I think it's confirmed. I can say that. He was charged with wrongful grifting. Dimebag Darnell says Joe Biggs works for Murder the Media. He doesn't know that. PDF is on TG Clips chat. PDF of the charges. We were aware of all this yesterday. We were just keeping a lid on it for now. I saw him on TV's media for sure, and he talks into a microphone. Yeah. I think he even had an old-timey hat with a piece of paper in it that said press. How much money did the LA Times pay for their interviews? 0. But the LA Times wasn't a bad one. It was pretty good. Ben Mosey says, I'm good for $1,000. You make me feel like a horrible person. I'm grabbing yours and Lucas's shirt right now since I'm over at the studio. Jane says, Ben, you are God among men. Amen. And a woman. Eddie got $35K. Jesus Christ. Dick, we're going to have to put you in a fucking wheelchair, dude. Mobility scooter. Every interview from now on should be covered in a mobility scooter. We will take Fast Eddie's fake cripple grift, and Dick Nicola will be the new crippled Italian-American reporter on the street. And all we'll have to do is crack both of his knees with a crowbar several times. Okay, yeah, I just don't like Scribed asking money for public documents. I just don't like Scribed asking money for Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, we got ours from, I forget where they looked it up, but yeah, I read them yesterday, and it looks bad. It looks really, really bad. Maybe 20 years. As a political prisoner, could you imagine doing any time as a political prisoner in this country? The prisons are probably still controlled by privatized hate groups. And, man, I just hope Biden steps in and does the right thing, as I know he will, because he's infallible, and everything he does will be the better choice for the United States. Anyway, well, that's all I got for today. I hope everybody is enjoying day 0 and seeing that the future is so bright you have to wear shades. But hopefully it's not bright from white people's skin, but instead the country will hopefully be brought together with strength in diversity. I think that's all I have to say. I'll check the last messages, and then we'll go. Sorry, Tum Tum. We're ending now, but we will post the replay on the Murder the Media Telegram, which is at Thunderdome TV, and you can check that out there. So again, everybody, do me a favor. Before you buy that beer this weekend, before you buy that crack cocaine tonight, why don't you set aside a few bucks for your friends here at MT Media, which doesn't mean anything negative at all, just a play on words. Nothing negative at all. MT Media, everybody, your source for alternative, but not alt, news. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again tomorrow for BlackVill'd, as we will go over day 1.